And setting the intention, building a culture of empathy. Yay! We got, so we light our candle. Need a little enthusiasm for our culture. Oh no, it's got blown out. So we want to start with our self-empathy, just taking 2 minutes. If you want to block that out and taking a deep breath and feeling into your feelings, sensing bodily sensations.
Okay.
Okay, coming back into the group, and we want to go for a check-in. And then at the end of your check-in, share a feeling. Share how you're feeling now, and an emotion, and a feeling of what you would like to have. So I guess I'll start. Yeah, I've been getting all ready for this Sunday, been posting. Somebody from UT Austin, they're in the sports department there. They were interested in the empathy tent, and they have 4 TAs in his sports class, and he wants to teach them kind of empathy. And then they have 174 students. They want to teach those 147 students and then set up an empathy tent on campus and offer listening. So he just sent an email. So I was kind of, hey, that's cool. And so I'm hoping things like that, kind of happen. And, earlier today, talked with Celia, kind of really, enjoyed that, had a really enjoyable time, insightful, felt like I was learning a lot, growing. So I feel sort of a spaciousness, sort of if that's my emotion, sort of a general spaciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And how good Celia's video is working. And then there's a spaciousness, and then there's like a little constriction kind of overhead, like under the constriction. And what I would like, the feeling I would like, or the need, is for creativity, kind of like bing, 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 sort of a freedom and excitement. So that's kind of like the need, or the feeling I would like to have. Whoever wants to go.
All right, I'll go. So I'm just having this sense of contentment right now, and it's kind of like like everything just coming together almost, Ooh.
Ooh.
And I'm in the mood for a little bit of creativity. So actually, I like Edwin's thing of just pop, 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 pop. Just like I'm in the mood just to get something done, to be creative, and I don't know what.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I can go. I feel great. I feel fine. What nice was during the minutes looking inside. I first felt a little, wow, there's so much like a bowl. And then the image came that this bowl became a heart. That was really, it formed itself. So that was so nice already. I thought, yeah, I want to go from the bowl to the heart. Yeah, so that was what I feel.
Okay. And I'm feeling balanced. I'm getting out in nature. I'm doing photography. And I put up got on Facebook, and then I put up the empathic learning challenge. So that feels good. It feels balanced. What I hope for is some more guidance on how to promote the page. So that's what I'm hoping for is to be able to guide myself how to promote it.
Okay. So let's see. The next thing we had was our on arrival question. Mm-hmm. So the arrival question is, what concerns might you have in facilitating an empathy circle with family, friends, and others? And the reason we set that was we want to have that as sort of an assignment for the week. That our assignment will be, and we'll talk about that later, is to set up an empathy circle and then report back next week on how it went. And so just kind of getting just kind of hear what concerns would you have about doing that. And so I can start, and we just go down the list, which is, so a lot of people don't like rules. So I've tried to set up empathy circles here at home, like with my partner, and like we had some friends come by, and they were like, I don't want rules. I don't want this structured, I want free kind of style. So sort of this resistance to kind of a structured dialogue, which puts me on kind of edge. So it feels like I kind of offer this, and then they don't like the rules. They get, I just want to talk freely, and it creates a sense of tension in me, that, oh, this is what I want, and I'm kind of concerned that I'm going to be rejected. And so then I feel like, oh, I'm going to be rejected. People aren't going to want to do what I want to do or interested in doing. And that creates a sense of, I think, a bit of anxiety within me. And then when I kind of even suggest doing this, I have a little bit of anxiety that somehow affects people even wanting to take part. So that's something I've just been kind of struggling with. And so so Rashad's not here. So I guess Bill was next. Okay.
Well, I feel once entered into, here or in a group or whatever, or even practicing out in the open air, I feel pretty confident when the process starts. When people are entered into it, I feel pretty confident. I think it's safe. I think it's robust, and I think it's valuable. So that I feel very comfortable in. The section is a little bit allied with what Edwin's saying, is that when people are not really prepared for it, or they're going to come into it, you're trying to entice them into it, or you're trying to something like that. Where's that line? The people who've tried it, certainly I consider myself, you try it, you like it. It feels good. But nevertheless, there is a thing of being too pushy. So that's one area. And the other one is that I've done conflict resolution, but I haven't done empathy circle, conflict resolution. And so that there's certain nuances where, being authority figure as a teacher would require a different skill set and a different approach probably than in an empathy circle conflict resolution. And so I want to make sure that my skills are upgraded.
Peter?
Yeah, for me, I just have this sense that, once empathy circle goes, even I've noticed that whenever I've done them, in the past, that the rules and the structure actually really do support connection, but it really is just getting people there. Like, particularly, when I've even in, I've done like little, like in terms of empathy circles, like with my clients, I've actually done where a family gets together and they say, we want to tell this person that we don't want them smoking anymore in the house or something. And I've circled up with people and, had a discussion about how everyone feels about the person smoking in the house. And, requests were made and then I follow up, in the next few weeks of, the person still smoking in the house, that kind of thing. So it's really just finding willing participants, and for me, at least, it always comes around when there's something that has to be dealt with almost. So I'm just, that energy kind of concerns me. Like people will come when it becomes too much of an issue that it's just like one empathy circle won't fix it, So just like dealing with that, like saying, I see this problem coming up. How about we deal with it now so it doesn't become bigger? And getting people willing to do that, because I think that's a better use of everyone's time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's creating a culture of empathy in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, Celia?
Well, it was interesting for me to think about it because I always propose it to my students and the people in the classes, but then of course I already have them as students. And I remembered when we wanted to start the free school and we wanted to set up the circle meetings in Sociocratic way, that there was indeed also resistance. Why should we need a structure? Why can't we just talk? And I remember my youngest son, who was then in it, he said, well, if you guys don't want it with the structure of the sociocracy, then I'm out of here. And I said, wow. So it's hard to get people there where you feel the benefit of, but they have not felt the benefit yet. Now, what I tell my students and how to introduce it at their home is that I let them know it's part of the homework. And they just need some people to do some homework with them. So it's an exercise to get the family members first to have it introduced as a helper for the person who needs to learn it. And then from then on, I help them further to make family meetings. And that always works like that. But I've never done for myself, like just go to the neighbor and see if she wants to do an empathy circle. I've never ever done such thing. So it's interesting for me to see, can I do that? But next week I have the empathy tent at the art wall. But on the other hand, people will see it, and if they sit down, they expect something. So there's the benefit too. But yeah, again, it was an interesting thinking, like, wow, how would I start it at all?
Yeah, that's that excuse of it's my homework. You're helping me out here. Would you help me out with my homework? Is people
Yeah.
want to contribute. It's not about them. It's about them
No,
helping.
right.
You
And
know?
it is also honest. It's not a tricky thing. It is really honest to help that person do the skills. Yeah. But I also can, how do you say, validate what Peter said. When there is a real upset, when there is a real issue, then you're hired. So how do you get hired? Yeah. To help.
Well, yeah. So we'll have more time towards the end to go in more depth around this. So, Varsha, what was your arrival question? Concerns about facilitating empathy circle?
It's just that I do not know how to get started, like even talking about it. Because like in Indian culture, all these things like social emotional learning, all these topics we generally don't talk about. And even to talk about this, I really have questions about how people would be receiving, and if they're willing to receive, or if they're ready to receive, or if they're even interested in these kind of things. And how do I get introduced? How do I like set up the context? Because I also have questions around like people really understand how important it is to be listened and to be heard. Like, you know, it's not even in their radar. So even before even talking about empathy circle or even significance of listening, maybe I'll take a long time to like even talk, you know, in the circle about this. Like, I don't want them to like even guess why I'm talking this, but just as a random conversation, like, you know what I mean?
You want to just random conversation, not have it feel controlled or directed?
What?
You don't want it to be directed. You want it to just be sort of a random conversation?
Yes, just general talks, you know, when we friends or family meet, just general talk, or how to even like bring this kind of conversation and really understand if they know, or what do they think about it, is it important, or are they aware about, or if like just to know their thoughts, like how to start a conversation, like, yeah. So I cannot just go and talk about, oh, I'm doing this empathy circle, this listening thing, and they won't get it.
Okay, then we'll have more time to speak.